Keep yapping, man. And you ain't black.
I'm sure Ben Shapiro was not. We were not meaning to attack you. We're just simply telling the truth, which is the fact that Joe Biden did not spend the whole year in his basement to come up because he's a big Cardi B fan and sit down with you. He thinks you're an idiot. And, you know, I just am encouraging you to stop proving him right when you say ridiculous things like, I had to sit down with Joe Biden because my sister got attacked by a Trump supporter, Santa Claus, making it seem like Trump supporters are homophobic. A little education for you, Cardi B. Donald J. Trump is the first president that's ever gone into office in support of gay marriage. So, you know, those 8 years that your presidential candidate Joe Biden spent as a vice president with Obama, they didn't support gay marriage going into office. Obama changed his tune on gay marriage in his second term. So the whole idea of Trump being a homophobe is a bit pointedly ridiculous and shows how uneducated you are.
Damn!
Then you came and you were talking about raising your taxes when you were on talking to Joe Biden, saying that you want your taxes lowered, but at the same time you want universal health care. That's ignorant and stupid. And Joe Biden knows it's ignorant and stupid. Even all the people that want free health care and universal health care acknowledge that tax rates have to be astronomical to be able to support that. So you're talking about a 74% tax rate. You continually keep saying you have a number one song. It means shit. Nobody cares about a song about your wet ass pussy. Excuse my language for my followers. Being number one. I have a number one song in the UK. I have a number one song in Australia. I have a number one song in New Zealand.
Good fucking morning! I just woke up and look, motherfuckers, look. Billboard Hot 100, number one! No.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
And I always say it's such a blessing to be here. I think you guys are the real fighters in California. I tell people all the time, California is essentially a communist country within the United States of America. If you've been there, if you've been to downtown LA, you have been to a communist country, and it's getting crazier. I mean, I've never seen, especially San Francisco, I've never seen so many articles written about poop. I mean, it's just... Is this real life? Every time you scroll and there's an article, we've got a real poop problem. There's poop on the streets. There's a poop patrol in San Francisco, which is quite remarkable that the people that are running these cities think that they have the audacity to tell us that they are well equipped to run the country, right? They get to have a poop control. They tell us that we can't have a border patrol. I don't think that's how it works, right? We had a group of students that were playing Beyonce music through speakers loud so they could drown out the sound of us talking on stage. So just imagine that scenario. And we started the event, just so you're aware of what's really happening on these college campuses. We started the event, and I do this now often, where I'll ask a very simple question just to figure out how crazy the room is. And I'll say, I'm going to ask a very simple question. By a show of hands, how many people think America is a more racist country today than it was 60 years ago? And about half of the hands went up. It's astonishing. Like, this is actually how brainwashed these kids are. They actually believe that America is a worse off country. And I'll never forget the Black Lives Matter protester said to me, well, it's just a different kind of racism, but it's worse today than it was back when we had segregation and Jim Crow laws. So that is the lunacy that I have to fight. And that's really what I do. Somebody earlier asked me, you know, what do you consider yourself? Do you author, talk show host? Really just sort of a glorified babysitter. I have to explain very simple concepts. I'm not really an Einstein when I go around. I'm not really like teaching them things that it's so hard and complicated to understand. I'm like, hey guys, so there's two genders. And the whole room falls apart, right? I'm like, but you see them play that game. How dare you? And then they say, oh, you can't say anything. She's a young woman and she's scared. And I look around at these adults and I'm like, if you've convinced a bunch of children they're going to die in 10 years and you think you're on the good side, right? Like, I mean, it's really alarming and they really believe this stuff. Everything the left is doing today goes back to destroying the nuclear family, really. They want to turn women into men, men into women, and confuse everyone because it destroys the family. And so much happens once you destroy the family. Look no further than the black community to see that experiment played out. You know, in the 1960s, the single motherhood rate was considered really, really high in the black community. It was at 23%, and they were writing papers freaking out saying we have a real problem here. We have so many black children that are growing up without a father in the home. Well, fast forward to today, and the single motherhood rate in the black community is 74%. The amount of times that I have heard them talking about white supremacy as being the biggest threat, when the statistics show that 95% of black Americans that are killed by other black people. Why aren't we talking about gang violence? Why aren't we talking about the inner cities? Simple, because they don't actually want to fix the issues. They just want to stump on our issues. That is the Democrat game. When you call people literally Hitler, right? And we have people that fought World War II that live in this country that are still breathing. You make it such an insult for what they were willing to sacrifice their lives for, right? This generation is still alive. My grandfather grew up in a segregated South, picking cotton, laying out tobacco to dry when he was 5 years old. Imagine being 5 years old and having a job, and your job is to wake up before the sun comes out, to lay out tobacco to dry because otherwise it's too hot in North Carolina. This was his job, one of 12 brothers and sisters. He didn't have the opportunity to go to school. He grew up with the real KKK, not the term that we throw around when we disagree with a conservative, right? So my job's easy compared to my grandfather's life. My life is so incredibly easy. I am so spoiled. I am so blessed. People ask me, how do I deal with all the hate? I say, I have to deal with mean tweets, guys. Really, I have to deal with Antifa, Ninja Turtle looking guys when I show up, on a college campus.
Go, you know the thing.
And you ain't black.